Good morning. Hope you're doing well today. Today we're talking about Chapter 7. This is Part 2. We're talking about human resources. Here we go. These are the interview steps. So first you want to open the interview. So you're trying to develop rapport with applicants. Put them at ease by talking about some topic not related to the job. Maintain your eye contact in a way that's comfortable for you and for them. Number 2, give your realistic job preview. Be sure applicants understand the job requirements. Answer any questions they have about the job and the organization. If the job is not what they expected or wanted to do, allow applicants to disqualify themselves and close the interview at that point. Step number 3, ask your questions. Step number 2 and 3 can be combined if you like. To get the most out of a job interview, take notes on applicants' responses to your questions. Tell each applicant that you have prepared a list of questions and that you plan to take notes. During the interview, applicants should do most of the talking. Give them a chance to think and respond. In addition to making sure the person fits the job requirements, you also need to determine whether the candidate fits the team, the company, and the culture. If someone doesn't give you all the information you need, ask an unplanned probing question. However, if it's obvious that person doesn't want to answer the question, don't force it. Go on to the next question or close the interview. And with a closing question such as, "I'm finished with my questions. Is there anything else you want to tell me or ask me?" Number 4, introduce top candidates to coworkers. Introduce top candidates to people within whom they will be working to get a sense of their interpersonal skills and overall attitude. Introductions can also give you a sense about whether the person is a team player. And step number 5, close the interview. Be honest without making a decision during the interview. Don't lead candidates on. Thank them for their time and tell them about the next step in the interview process, if any. Tell candidates when you will contact them. Be specific and keep your word. You might say, "Thank you for coming in for this interview. I'll be interviewing over the next 2 days and will call or email you with my decision by Friday of this week." Be sure that you make that call. Simple courtesy demands that you give applicants closure. Also, you don't want job applicants to get a bad impression about your team or organization and tell their friends and relatives how you treated them poorly because you could lose fans and customers. After the interview, jot down general impressions not covered by specific questions. Here you see figure 7.7 that shows the steps in the training cycle. Following these steps ensures that training is systematic and thus effective. Conduct a needs assessment. Before you begin training, you must determine your staff's training needs. Based on your knowledge as a coach, what skills and plays do they need to work on? Set objectives. Any training program should have well-defined performance-based objectives. As with all plans, begin by determining the end result you want to achieve. Your objectives should meet the criteria discussed in Chapter 4. Prepare for training. Before conducting a training session, have written plans and all the necessary materials and equipment ready. If you have ever had an instructor come to a class or a coach come to practice unprepared, you know why preparation before training is necessary for success. Selecting the training method is an important part of your preparation. You have already learned about JIT. Measure and evaluate training results. Linked training outcomes and results will make you more effective as a trainer. During training and at the end of the program, measure and evaluate the results to determine whether you achieved your objectives. If you met your goals, training is over. If you didn't meet your goals, either continue the training until your objectives are met or take employees off the job if they cannot meet the standards. Revise and improve your written plans for future use. Orientation and training often take place simultaneously. Training is about acquiring the skills necessary to perform a job. If you have diverse skills, you can perform a variety of tasks and jobs. Recall our discussion of job expansion in Chapter 5. Development is ongoing education that improves skills for present and future jobs. Today, ongoing training and development are needed to keep up with the latest trends and skills. Table 7.1 lists the various training methods available, many of which can be used as part of JIT. The third column lists the primary skill developed. However, some of the technical methods can be combined. Technical skill also includes acquiring knowledge that can be tested. When selecting a training method, keep in mind that people learn much more from what they use and do in real life. We learn more by doing. Unfortunately, there is a big gap between knowing and doing. The trend today is to keep training lessons short with the use of microlearning. Interactive video is commonly used in lessons that take around 5 minutes to complete and include a test. Trainee can complete any number of lessons independently whenever they want to access them online with a desktop, computer, tablet, or smartphone. Performance appraisal is the ongoing process of evaluating employee performance. Performance appraisals, or PAs, are a critical part of understanding and managing people. Unfortunately, PA reviews are only conducted once a year by more than 75% of surveyed companies, when they should be ongoing throughout the review period, as our definition states. Figure 7.8 here shows the connection between the organization's mission and objectives and the performance appraisal process. The feedback loop indicates the need to control performance. Employees' performance should be measured against their contribution to the achievement of the organization's mission and objectives, which we discussed in Chapter 4. So the first step is to analyze the job. The PA method needs to be based on the job description because you can't assess performance if you don't know and understand what you are assessing. The responsibilities laid out in the job description should be ranked in order of importance and weighed accordingly. Second step, develop standards and measurement methods. After determining what it takes to do the job, you can develop standards and methods for measuring performance. In the next section, we will describe several common measurement methods, and we discussed the standards in Chapter 13. Step number 3, carry out informal PAs through coaching and discipline. Effective PA systems should be ongoing. We all benefit from regular informal feedback on our performance. You most likely know how important good coaching is to athletic performance, but do you realize that it is just as important in sport management? Coaching involves giving praise for a job well done, to maintain performance, and take corrective action when standards are not met. Someone who is underperforming may need daily or weekly coaching or discipline to meet standards. In Chapter 13, we examine coaching and discipline in more detail. Step number 4, prepare for and conduct the formal PA. Follow the steps in Figure 7 and 9. Your success at conducting formal PAs does not come from the method or form you use once or twice a year. It comes from your ongoing coaching efforts so that your employees always know what the standards are and how they are doing. PAs come in 2 types. You have developmental and evaluative. Developmental PAs are used to improve performance. Evaluative PAs are used to decide pay raises, transfers, promotions, and demotions, and even terminations. Evaluative PAs focus on the past, whereas developmental PAs focus on the future. However, developmental PAs plans are always based on evaluative PAs. The primary purpose of both types is to help employees to continuously improve their performance. Most firms place the biggest emphasis on evaluation, which is a mistake because it doesn't develop employees. When developmental and evaluative PAs are conducted together, which they commonly are, the developmental PA is often less effective, especially when an employee disagrees with the evaluation. Most managers are not good at both judging and coaching. Therefore, separate meetings make the 2 uses clear and make the process more productive for both employee and manager. Labor relations are the interactions between management and unionized employees. Labor relations are also called union management relations and industrial relations. There are many more United States organizations without unions than there are with unions. Therefore, not all organizations include labor relations as part of their HR systems. Unions are organizations that represent employees in collective bargaining with employers. They are also a source of recruitment. There are typically 5 stages in forming a union, as you'll see here in figure 7.10. Stage 1 is the initial organizing activities. Stage 2 is signing authorization cards. If 30% of employees do not sign, the process ends there. At stage 3, you're determining the bargaining unit. And stage 4 is election. If fewer than 50% vote for the union, the process ends. And stage 5 is certification or decertification if the union is voted out. To avoid a strike, employees refuse to go to work, or a lockout is where management refuses to let employees in to work, and to handle grievances by either side. Involved parties sometimes agree to use neutral third parties called mediators from the United States Federal Mediation and Conciliation Service, or FMCS. If you need more information about FMCS, visit their website, www.fmcs.gov. American MLB has outlasted panicky owners, spoiled players, scandal, and embarrassment for more than 100 years. America's national pastime thus provides a rich example of labor relations. Conflicts between baseball players and owners date back to the 1880s. Fans have endured 5 strikes since 1966, and the owners have locked players out 3 times. The last baseball strike was from August 1994 to April 1995. The strike lasted 232 days, 938 games, including the entire playoffs and World Series. Since 2002, there has been an ongoing investigation of the use of steroids in baseball. However, in terms of labor relations in baseball between owners and players, it has been a period of peaceful coexistence. Collective bargaining is the process whereby unions and management negotiate a contract that covers employment conditions at the organization. Contracts typically stipulate compensation, including benefits, hours, and working conditions. Contracts can include other issues that both sides agreed to include in the contract. Job security is a hot issue for unions today. To avoid a strike, employees refuse to go to work, or a lockout where management refuses to let employees in to work, and to handle grievances by either side. Involved parties sometimes agree to use neutral third parties. Mediators are neutral parties who help management and labor settle disagreements. In cases in which the 2 parties are unwilling to compromise but still want to avoid a strike or lockout, they may choose to call in an arbitrator. Arbitrators are different from mediators in that arbitrators' decisions are binding. They must be followed. Arbitrators more typically work to settle grievances. Mediators deal with impasses in collective bargaining. The trend is to replace the word termination with separation. It sounds better, doesn't it? Although organizations want to retain good employees and keep turnover low, turnover will always be a challenge. Employees leave organizations in 2 ways. Number 1, voluntarily, for other jobs or for other reasons like retirement or health issues. And number 2, involuntarily, because they're fired or laid off. These employees usually need to be replaced. Employees who separate voluntarily are often interviewed to find out why they are leaving. The exit interview, usually conducted by the HR department, helps identify problem areas that may be causing turnover. Involuntary termination occurs in one of 2 ways. Firing, when employees break important rules or are otherwise found wanting, and layoffs, which often occur because of downturns in the economy, problems in the organization, or mergers and acquisitions. As employees leave, turnover increases and performance often decreases while the organization is replacing workers. However, turnover also has a positive side. It brings in new, diverse employees who can improve organizational and performance. Thus, there is ongoing research debate about what turnover levels are optimal. In any case, the HR department needs to manage turnover effectively. The Carlsbad-based golf equipment company, TaylorMade Adidas Golf, cut its workforce by 41. The cuts were the result of determining how well the company's workforce met its needs. When companies undergo layoffs, they sometimes offer outplacement services to help employees find new jobs. Why would companies bother? The reasons are simple: to help repay employees for service to the organization, for goodwill. They may want to hire those people back someday, and to avoid wrongful termination lawsuits. So for summary, you want to be able to describe the 4 parts of HR management. Differentiate between a job description and a job specification and explain why they are needed. State the 2 processes, the 2 parts of the process of attracting employees, and explain how hypothetical questions and probing questions differ. Be able to state the purposes of orientation and training and development, and describe job instructional training, or JIT. Define the 2 types of performance appraisals, developmental and evaluative. Explain the concept you get what you reward, and state the 2 major components of compensation, of pay and benefits, and describe how job analysis and job evaluations are used. And that is the end for today. I look forward to talking with you again next week. We'll be going over Chapter 8. You guys have a great day. Talk to you soon.